The story begins. In the secluded town of S City, nestled deep within A County, there existed a chilling legend known to its inhabitants as the tale of the bird-like deity. As a child, I found myself uprooted from my familiar surroundings and brought to this remote place by my mother, following a financial debacle that ensnared my father. I spent a year and a half attending the local middle school, a stark contrast to the life I had known. S City was a place I could hardly believe my father would find a bride, given its distance from modernity. Yet, it was here that I first heard whispers of the bird-like deity. During the summer of my first year, classmates Kurata, Matsuo, and Maeda extended an intriguing invitation to witness this enigmatic figure. Eager to make friends, I accepted their offer without hesitation. Under the dying light of dusk, we ventured to a forgotten part of the hinterlands. An ancient torii gate, worn by time, stood sentinel among the weeds, its atypical red hue casting an eerie glow under the setting sun. "This is merely the entrance," Kurata informed us as we passed through. We continued deeper into the mountains, a silence hanging in the air that was almost tangible. Within minutes, we arrived at a diminutive shrine, barely larger than a kneeled girl with arms wrapped around herself. Inside was a curious offering, a wooden birdcage. "We're here," Matsuo declared, instructing Maeda to retrieve the bread crusts from her bag. "What's this?" I inquired, my curiosity piqued. "Hush, this is the home of the bird-like deity," Kurata explained. "Is it a god?" I pressed on. "I'll tell you more later. Maeda, offer the sacrifice and the bread," Matsuo directed. Maeda complied, unveiling a small bundle of hair wrapped in paper, her own locks noticeably shorter. Matsuo placed the bread crusts before the shrine, lighting the paper and hair with a lighter, muttering a ritualistic chant. "O bird-like deity, we bring a new friend today, Ejima-kun, who has recently arrived in S City. Please watch over him." We stood in silence, a chorus of birds beginning to sing as if in response to an unseen command. "The bird-like deity welcomes you," Matsuo announced. "What exactly is the bird-like deity?" I asked again. "Not what, but who," Kurata corrected. "The bird-like deity is an all-knowing entity here in S City. For the right price, it can answer any question." I pondered the implications of such an exchange. "And if the offering is inadequate?" I queried, sensing the potential peril. "That has never happened." "We're always careful with our questions," Maeda assured me. "But not every question has an answer," I insisted. "That's your perception," Matsuo replied with a smug grin that I found unsettling. He was confident, almost arrogantly so. "Let's begin, Maeda. You first," Matsuo instructed. Maeda tore a page from her notebook, dividing it into 4 pieces to distribute among us. She then retreated to a corner, scribbling something before burning the paper. As she did, the air filled with the simultaneous singing of birds in a 30-meter radius. The sound was both beautiful and terrifying, an auditory omen under the summer dusk. Maeda laughed with a joy that was almost manic, as if she had achieved her life's greatest wish. I began to understand the nature of the bird-like deity. It was a god unique to S City, a deity that could be consulted for a price. The offering Maeda had made, her hair, was proof enough. After writing a question on paper, burning it would elicit a response from the birds. Singing signified a positive answer or approval. Next was Kurata's turn. She followed the same ritual, burning her paper. The birds' singing resumed, and Kurata beamed with satisfaction. Then it was my turn. Though I believed in spirits, I hesitated, unsure of what to ask. Leaving would be disrespectful to the deity, and I couldn't feign skepticism. Staring at the blank page, I was at a loss. Matsuo encouraged me, ask anything, preferably a yes or no question, and remember to include the future price. Still, I had no idea. Finally, I decided to write, "Bird-like deity, pardon my intrusion and guide me in the future." I added, "Please spare me, and I will offer many loaves of bread in return." As I burned the paper, I waited with bated breath. After a minute, the birds began to sing, and I exhaled in relief. "You're lucky," Matsuo chuckled. I passed the lighter back to him, watching as he performed the same ritual. The moment his paper ignited, the last rays of sunset vanished and a chill wind swept through. Matsuo whispered his wish. Suddenly, the birds began to call, a stark contrast to their previous song. I recognized the sound as a warning cry, signaling danger. Matsuo's face turned ashen. Why? I offered so much this time." Maeda and Kurata sensed the shift, turning to me in panic. "What did you ask? What price did you promise?" Maeda demanded. "You said not to tell," I replied. "That was a lie. Tell us," Kurata insisted. "No, you first," I shot back. They hesitated, unable to answer. "Tell me, Ijima," Matsuo shouted, his voice tinged with desperation. The birds' calls continued, an unrelenting cacophony. "I won't. I'm leaving," I declared, grabbing my bag and fleeing down the mountain. But the path was treacherous, and I fell hard before the torii. My right arm dislocated, and a massive splinter pierced my left ankle, leaving me wailing in agony. When I finally returned home, my mother's horror prompted an immediate trip to the city hospital. I cursed my misfortune, questioning why the deity hadn't spared me as promised. After receiving 11 stitches and having my arm set, I spent the weekend recuperating. On Monday, I hobbled to school on crutches. Maeda and Kurata approached, feigning concern, as if nothing had happened. Yet Matsuo was absent, his desk empty. Our teacher informed us he had taken leave. By Friday, a week after our encounter with the deity, Matsuo was still missing. That evening, we learned from his uncle that Matsuo had succumbed to a high fever the previous night. News spread that his mother had died in a car accident en route to the hospital, her neck broken. Unable to cope, Matsuo's father took his own life. Meanwhile, Maeda started dating a popular senior, and Kurata won a family trip to Hawaii. Understanding dawned upon me. That evening, I returned to the torii, leaning on my crutches. I placed a loaf of white bread as an offering, unwrapping it carefully. For 3 months, I continued this ritual weekly. Finally, as the autumn equinox approached, my foot healed completely. As I laid down the bread, the birds began to sing once more. The story ends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mr. Macabre for more twisted tales that keep the darkness alive.